This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nich Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nich has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome, and this is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nich Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is June 4th, 2020, and this is show number 48. And Nich, hey, we have just been crushing it on McDonald's there.
Yeah, McDonald's was a pretty big winner. I took half off the table. I'm still holding a second half position because, as I said, I'm looking for that thing to go north of $200. So, but it was a nice winner, over 5% yesterday. And again, yesterday in my program, just so everybody knows, we took 3 profits yesterday, and one of them was really, really solid. Well, they were all solid, to be honest, but one of them was really, really good because we took a profit in RIO, and that second half position was over 10%. So that was really, really nice. And again, I took another profit today, took half off in another trade, another 5% gain, and I'm letting the second half run. So, yeah, Bullseye is really cranking up right now. And again, to all the naysayers, just follow the charts. That's really what I have to tell everybody.
Yeah, and of course, you've been spot on. All the experts, the so-called experts, the political, financial pundits on CNBC and the other stations are all saying, no, it's not going to last. It's going to pull back. It's going to pull back. And you say the charts are telling you something totally different.
That's what I've been saying. And we've been talking about it on this program every single day. And, there'll be a time where I will go the other way. I'm not a perma bull one way or the other. As I always say, if the Dow goes to $1 million or it goes to a single dollar, I just want to be on the right side of that trade. I don't care really where it goes. When you put your trader's helmet on, you just got to be engaged in what the charts are telling you, and really that's about it.
Yeah, so trust the charts. That's what it comes down to in the end, because emotions, right? Most traders, most people investing, they're all about emotions, and that's what causes them to lose money, right?
Yeah, emotion, and that's what makes us human beings. So I don't want to say that that's not a good quality to be emotional, but in this business, you have to do 2 things. One, you have to check your emotions at the door before you come into the nightclub. And number 2, you have to think opposite everyone else. And if your thinking is, just like everyone else is thinking, you're going to be in a world of hurt in this business. You're just not going to make it. And, I've made every mistake that every trader can make. So I don't want to come from a point where I haven't had the experience of losing. I've lost more than I'd like to admit in my early years, but I've been doing this quite a long time now, and I win quite often. So not to say I can't lose from time to time, but the honest truth is this is a humbling business, and you have to get educated on the charts. You have to know what you're doing. I provide excellent training. I have excellent seminars that I've conducted both live and online for members. So, again, if you really want to do it, the information is out there for you to do it. If you're just, haphazard about it and you're really not, you just want somebody to give you a fish. Yeah, we do that too, but that's not my main purpose. My main purpose is to always help people to get better at it and protect yourself when you get these big sell-offs like we had, and then you get these big monster rallies where people are getting out at the lows. So again, that's the purpose of the whole program, and I hope people can appreciate that.
Yeah, hey, well, you get a couple of trades like you said you bought stock in MCD, McDonald's. I bought the calls, also upon your recommendation. I'm up like 30-40% in 2 days, and now the emotions have kicked in, the emotion of fear that it might pull back and I'm going to lose my profits, and the emotion of greed has kicked in that, hey, man, it went up this fast, this far, and Nich says it's going over 200. I should just sit around and wait.
Yeah, and, as a trader, a lot of times what I do is I'll and my members will tell you, we'll take the money off the table, and then I'll reload on a pullback. I'll reload on another pattern. So I do that all the time, but I know where the underlying trend is taking me. So that's another thing that I've done. In fact, I'll give you a great example of that. I was in an options trade not that long ago. Members could go to my website and check it out under Bullseye Options. That's my program. You could just look at the FXI. We traded this 4 separate times and made over 100% because I knew the underlying trend was going to take it up. So every pullback that gave me a setup into support, I bought it again. Then I sold it, and I bought it again, and I sold it. And I just repeat and repeat and repeat that whole technique. And that's a way where you could actually even make a lot more money in the market than you normally would by just sitting and waiting.
Yeah. So, and then you can take your profits and buy more when it goes down, when it does the pullback, right? You
can do that. You can do that. If you want to buy more, you could buy the same lot. It's really up to you. If you're aggressive, you can buy more with those profits. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I find the whole thing kind of fascinating, though, because it is so emotional. It is so, I don't know, what's the word? It's gut-wrenching. And so you really just have to separate your emotions and just say, well, like you always say, and Bernard Baruch said, no one ever went broke taking a profit.
No, nobody ever went broke taking a profit. And the way I do my swing trading system is really pretty neat. What I do is I'll take half the profit off the table and I'll move the stop loss to break even. And I just did that with another stock this morning. Made over 5% on that. Took my profit off the table, letting the second half run for a much larger target. And I did that with Rio Tinto, RIO. We made over 10% on the second half. Total gain was just under 8% or 7.5% between the first half and the second half positions. So that's how I like to do it, because once I move my stop to break even, unless something catastrophic occurs, the worst that could happen to me is I get stopped out, break even on the second half, and I made money overall. So, if you ever go on my track record to Bullseye Trading and you see just a small gain there, and you look at the track record and you see a 2% or 3% trade, that's what happened. I got stopped out on the second half, but you know what? I still made money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the key. And you don't need home runs or grand slams, right? You just need steady, consistent profits, right?
Yeah, this business is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And the one thing, and I alluded to it yesterday just a little bit, there's an old movie with Paul Newman, one of my favorite movies, Jackie Gleason. It's called The Hustler. And yes. There's a line in the movie that says, all gamblers die broke. And I couldn't say it any better. And that line, and I've been watching that movie since I'm a little kid. I remember my dad making me watch that movie when I was a little kid. We lived in an apartment building in Brooklyn, New York, and we had a pool hall that was just at the corner of our street. And he would always I loved to play the game of pool, and I would always listen to that movie and remember that line still to this very day. All gamblers die broke. And the day I stopped gambling, meaning trading without using charts, is the day I really became profitable.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because gambling isn't necessarily, it's a behavior that people engage in, not necessarily to make profits, but they get some other kind of gratification from it, even if you lose. And the thing is that when you're trading with an advantage, then it's not gambling, it's speculation, which maybe can be a distant cousin of gambling, but it's speculation with an edge. It's just like the casinos in Vegas. They aren't gambling. You're gambling. They're right. Into a sure thing.
That's right. Every time you sit down at a casino table, the house knows that they have the edge to win. And there may be somebody that does take money from them one day, but if they stay there long enough, they're going to give that money back and then some. And the house always knows that. And I know that too when I get into a trade.
Yeah. Yeah, and here the house is really the professionals, especially in options, because we know that virtually all individuals lose money on options. It's a fact. It is the easiest way to make a profit for the professional traders that there is. And yet there's a certain portion that actually do make money and who can outwit the professionals at their own game. It's kind of like guys like you, Nich, are the card counters of stock speculation.
Well, thank you for that. That's a great compliment. I love it. I'll take it. But like I always said, this didn't come easy, and it's still not easy. There's times I'm perplexed, and I don't know what is going to happen in the market. But guess what I do when I don't know?
You hold back, right?
I do nothing.
When in doubt, do nothing.
Yeah, like I tell my members all the time, if you're like a guy will come to me and he'll say, hey, what about this pattern? It looks like it's on that. I said, well, what do you think it is? He's like, well, I don't know. And I said, well, then what do you do? He's like, I don't know. I said, well, you do nothing.
Nothing. Hey, when in doubt, do nothing.
Yeah, you're not sure. Sit back and let something more tell you, let the chart unfold more information. And a lot of people just don't have the patience to do that. In fact, last week, Kerry, I hold a live broadcast for all of our swing trading members every Thursday night. So they get to ask me about every trade. I go over every trade at night. I mean, it's ultimate hand-holding. And then I had a new member who was only in the trading room for about a week or so, and he basically said, I noticed these trades, they're not even moving. We're not making money on them, and it was really, really just a very negative comment that he made to me. And I just told him, flat out, I said, well, I don't think my program's for you. You should really quit it. You should move on and find another place to go. It's just not for everybody. I'm not trying to, to make something for everybody. It basically what they're doing is mimicking what I do. So, you're watching what I do and you're going to coattail it. That's really all there is to it. That's how it works. That's how the program works. If you want to be a part of it, that's great. If you don't, hey, you can go somewhere else. Go listen to a lot of other people. And we'll see where that gets you. But, I wish everybody the best.
Hey, of course. So let's go back to the markets. The broader averages, Dow north of 26K yesterday closed. The S&P 500, 3,100. And the NASDAQ was just 1.5%, 1.4% below its all-time high. Yep. And according to your charts, it's going to continue, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see this stopping right now, and it could change tomorrow. If the charts tell me to change, I change with it. So, but right now, I mean, there's no real reason to change course. As I've been saying over the course of the last 2 weeks, I've seen money come out of some leading tech names, most notably the cloud software stocks, and it's gone elsewhere. It's gone into the financials. It's gone into small beaten up retail names. So it's gone into energy. So when you see things like that, that's where you have to be able to, really look at the market in a big picture type of way and not just look at it as I'm just going to look at the FANG stocks, or I'm just going to look at the BAT stocks, which is the leading Chinese ADRs, or I'm just going to look at the cloud stocks. No, you got to look at the entire picture. And, a lot of people don't realize this, but I don't just look at that. I look at over 500 equities every single day, and I have 5 trades out there. So it goes to show you how much work is going into each equity before I put money on the table. People just don't understand what really goes into it. This is not an easy business. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And in the late 90s, everybody did do it, and they're all out of the business. Yeah,
so 5 trades, so that's less than 1%. And when we look at those sectors that you identified early on, airlines are way, way up. Hotels, way, way up. Home builders, the most counterintuitive play ever to me, is way up. They're strong, and it seems like they're moving back towards their old highs. The question is, will they make new highs, or will it be a double top?
Yeah, well, the thing about it is that when you say like home builders or any other equity, right? So let's just pick out the ITB, which is the home builders ETF. And what happens is, these things go up a lot and then they pull back. And as long as that pullback holds trend, what's to say it can't go higher? So that's where I think people just get so confused because they think like every double top is a short when it's really not, because you have to look at so many underlying factors. And that's exactly what I teach in the In the Money Stocks methodology course. That course is over 8 hours long. And I try to fit so much in that one course, but I've since broke down a lot of other courses to make 2 or 3 hour courses for people to really just study. But there's a lot of tricks to this trade, and there's a lot of different tools that you need to incorporate in order to be successful. So I teach everything that I do. There's nothing that I do that I don't show people.
Yeah, and obviously they don't have your experience level, and it takes time to acquire that experience for sure. Now, when you said the money is moving out of tech into other sectors, does that mean it's the big money moving there? Are we following the big money?
Tech has been the leader, and technology for the most part is still very strong. But what happened is you inside of, say, technology, you have a lot of different industry groups, right? You could have telecoms, you could have chips, many different kind of semiconductors, which, by the way, semiconductors are still very, very strong. Then you got the cloud software stocks, right? Like the Zooms and the OKTAs and the MongoDBs. And so we're starting to see, I've been seeing at least some distribution coming out of that group. And, the Salesforces of the world have been very strong, but there's some money coming out of there. And it's not being put to the sidelines. It's actually being redistributed to other areas of the market. And you see the financials now. JP Morgan, has gone basically from a low on May 14th of around $82. Now it's $106. Wells Fargo, this stock was just at $22. Now it's at $29.80. So just say $30 now. I got out of a Wells Fargo call option yesterday, 3-day play. I made, over 20%. Again, it's just recognizing these trends. And as long as you can do that, you can be consistently, profitable in this market.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. And this is a very dangerous market because for the exact reasons we discussed. Well, anyway, we'll leave it at that. Just make sure you go check out Nich's site, inthemoneystocks.com, see his latest trades and what's going on with him, the amazing winning streak you've been on, Nich, and check out the Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nich Santiago 01, and of course our Twitter feed at Kerry Lutz. And any questions, comments for Nich, myself, just email us kl@kerrylutz.com. Nich will pick up tomorrow on Friday. End of an exciting week.
Thank you, Kerry. Looking forward to it.
This concludes another episode of Daily Market Wisdom with Master Trader Nich Santiago. For more information, go to inthemoneystocks.com and see Nich's full trading record, or check out the Twitter feeds at ITMS and at Nich Santiago 01.